And after he passed, I think it was that day, it was a couple of hours after I found out, and I was sitting and there was like a finch that landed on the balcony. I've never seen it before. I remember I was in my room and I was just crying, and then I see a bird on the balcony, and I was like, what is that bird doing? And it wouldn't shut up. Like it just kept like talking, and I'm like, what is going on here?
Welcome everyone to another episode of What They Don't Tell Us, a show where we explore the paranormal, the unexplicable, and the obscure. And today I am joined by an icon, not just reality TV, but all across social media. I am talking about the one and only Harry Jowsey. Harry, how are you?
No one's ever called me an icon before, so that's amazing.
You are an icon.
I don't know in what world, but thank you. I appreciate it.
For what I see, you're really busy on social media. What are you working on these days?
So social media is a whole bunch of fun, but I've been working on learning how to act, which has been very exciting.
Okay.
And my podcast has been a lot of fun, just getting to sit down with people and just hang out. So it's been the biggest thing that I've been working on at the moment.
Yeah. So tell me about the acting part. What's like the funnest part about like acting and the process?
I think the coolest thing about learning to act is feeling like a kid again, and like using your imagination to just create scenarios. It sounds like what my ex used to do with me, just create fake scenarios and blame me for it. But that's the best thing, is just like creating this like random reality and like just being a different person and playing out these scenes, and also being like super vulnerable. Like for me, like that's very exciting because it makes me super uncomfortable, and I know where I feel uncomfortable, there's growth. And I'm doing something that my friends and people around me like couldn't imagine me doing.
So I do have to ask you, do you believe in like the paranormal and like the superstitious stuff and all that kind of spiritual, other dimension kind of stuff?
Yes, I do. There was a couple moments in high school where I thought there was, because I lived in boarding school, where a few boys lost their lives. So there was always like weird stuff going on, but I didn't really understand it. And I'm not sure if it was like my imagination like playing things, but more recently there's been a lot more stuff that's like made me more of a believer. And I think once I started tapping more into myself and thinking about the universe and how I got to where I'm at, and just paying a little bit more attention to things around me made me be more of a believer.
Oh wow, that's amazing. That's I feel like it's really crazy when you start like reflecting and doing self-reflection and some growth. Like you start thinking more that there's higher, I don't know, things that you start believing that there's higher stuff that you maybe don't understand but believe in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that you mentioned something about that you mentioned something about a bird or a sign. You believe in signs. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So last year, when one of my best friends, Tavida, passed, it was a really, really tough time, and I hadn't really spoken to him in a long time, and I didn't realize like the struggles that he was going through, because he's always like the happiest guy on the planet. And so I live in this building, which is like where I live is like really high up, and there's never any birds, or there's never any bird or wildlife that get to that level of that we're at. Like I think it's like a 40-floor building, and we're in like 36, so we're right up the top. And after he passed, I think it was that day, it was a couple of hours after I found out, and I was sitting and there was like a finch that landed on the balcony. I've never seen it before. I remember I was in my room and I was just crying, and then I see a bird on the balcony, and I was like, what is that bird doing? And it wouldn't shut up. Like it just kept like talking, and I'm like, what is going on here? And then I went outside, and it didn't leave, and it was staying there. So I asked my roommate, his mum's a shaman, and I started talking to her, and she was telling us about the finch, and I think I Googled it because it was it was so long ago, but she was telling us about like what it means, and so finches often associated with celebration and joy. They are regarded as omens of good things to come. So yeah, it was really weird because number one, like I've never really had a bird pop up, and two, like why would it come at that point? And why would it like make itself very present? Like it wouldn't stop like chirping. So I was like, okay, I think this is Tavita just coming and checking in, just to tell me that everything's okay and everything's fine, and that he's a lot happier now. And then there was. It would randomly like come back throughout the week. Like whenever I'd feel sad, I'd feel really like heartbroken and destroyed about what was going on, and then it would pop up again, and it would start like laughing at me or like chirping at me, and I was like, come on, man, like I'm really struggling, but like thanks for like checking in. And there was a few moments like that, and then a couple months after, my best friend's mum passed as well, and there was a similar situation where just like random little birds or animals would appear, and it would be a sign, and it would give me so much peace of mind, and it would make me feel more at ease with kind of what was going on.
Wow, that's really, thank you, by the way, for opening up like that and being so vulnerable, because when people are mourning and grieving, like I think that's one of the hardest things to do, and people mourn and grieve in such a different way, and the bird manifesting itself like that and giving you that peace is such a beautiful way of interpreting, and I do believe in signs, and I've actually heard that birds are like seen as like divine messengers.
I recently did a trip to Costa Rica where I did ayahuasca. Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did ayahuasca, and it was a crazy time, and I connected with him and then a few other friends that passed on like this obviously different dimension, but it was really, really intense, and just made me just be overwhelmed with like love.
Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. I really love how you said that you didn't choose to be angry and just accept it, and I think that, I don't know, that's very healthy of you, and that's really mature. That's what I can tell that you have a lot of self-love and inner peace, so that's amazing.
Thank you.
Once again, legend. Well, Harry, we're running out of time, but it was a pleasure to meet you. You're so different than I'm just kidding. On social media. No,
no, I am. Everyone always says that as well. They're like, in real life. Oh, it's because I also will post stuff because I know it's going to piss people off and get a reaction. So then but then in real life, I'm a little bit different.
No, it's very deep. It's refreshing to talk to someone that it's deep.